Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wine, Women, and Life. Welcome back, Jaleesa, our co-host, and Courtney, our other co-host. Today's topic is submissiveness. So, why do you guys think that submissiveness is important?
I feel that submissiveness is important in a relationship is because women need structure, we need leadership, and we need protection and sternness in a relationship. In a household, I feel like the household needs that. The definition of submission is to obey and yield to someone else's will.
I'm agreeing with Jaleesa. I believe in the Bible, so I believe that that's how God created us. He created the man to be the head and the woman to be submissive to her head. Because like Jaleesa said, that's all a part of structure within a household. And I just love when, I can still have my opinions and decisions on things, but when I can allow that man to take the lead and make that final decision. It's beautiful.
I agree with both of you guys also. You have to have submission in a household. I was always told that the man is the head and the woman is the tail, which means that he leads and we always bring up the rear. And you have to have the head and the tail because you just can't have the head and you just can't have a tail. It won't work. And in between that head and tail is the household, the kids, everything falls in between. Submission is so important when you have it, because I think what Jaleesa was saying, like, we women have to feel protected. We have to be in a great space for us to be allowed to be submissive.
I agree. I agree with her response. I think that people misconstrue the original definition of submission, and I don't think that it means to bow down to someone or to for somebody to be your master or your boss over you. I think that submission for a marriage or a relationship means duty. And in that sense, both ends can be dutiful in a relationship. I have a duty to fulfill as far as providing for my family, providing emotional support, financial support, all of the above. And then on the flip side, the woman has a duty to be there for her husband, to support her husband, to support the children, to support the family. So to me, that word submissive is a little shaky these days. So I like to use the word duty. We all have a duty when it comes to our families and our marriage.
Why do some women reject submission, and is submission conditional? What do you ladies think?
I believe that women reject submission is because of today's society and how they portray it, how people portray it to be something that it's not. I think people take submission and you got to be the maid, you got to be the servant, you got to bow down to him, he's the leader, everything. Like, I think they're portraying it wrong. So I think women feel that if they got to lower their standards, their values, and their beliefs and their desires for a man, they don't want it. They just don't want it.
That's exactly how I was looking at it, how society is built. And I think a lot of it has to do with the feminist movement too. The feminist movement that's going on, it does not support submissiveness to a man at all. We have a lot of independent women in the world today, and some women feel like it is beneath them to submit to a man. And then, like you were saying, it doesn't mean to bow down. And I think women misconstrue the meaning of submissiveness as well. And that's another reason why they're rejected.
I have a different point of view.
Okay. Come on, girl, bring it.
I would say that a lot of women reject submissiveness because the person that they with, they don't see themselves submitting to. To be honest, you don't have a lot of men that can jump into that leadership role and carry it out in the right manner. I mean, certain things that person may do in a relationship, the woman doesn't feel safe. The woman doesn't feel secure. So therefore, you always got your guard up. It's like, I can't let this person lead me, because if I let him lead me, we finna run into a burning house. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women are just like, I don't see it with that person. I think it takes the right man for a woman to submit to.
It's not the 1960s anymore. Where we got this family structure where everybody's in this perfect union. The father's just the number one head, and this is how we're doing things. These are modern times. Women work now. Women have careers. Women do just as much as far as making money and being financial as a man. So um, feminism, uh, the destruction of the black family, uh, welfare. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's all types of vices out there and things used to break our families. So we lose the structure. We lose the ability to depend on each other and have some kind of interdependency on each other versus I'm a strong black woman or I'm a strong man. I don't need nobody for anything. And that's just not the way it should be these days. Duty. We're going back to duty. If we don't have some type of grasp on reality, then we're going to always be against each other and not coming together as a unit. And when you think of a unit, you think of duty. I have a responsibility toward my family and toward my woman, toward my wife. So it's not like I said, this submissive thing, it gets thrown around too easily. People get it misconstrued too fast. And we assume that submission or duty to our spouse or to our significant other means that we have to be bowing down. We have to be some kind of slave or made to somebody, and that's just not the case.
I feel that it's conditional because I want to trust the man to protect, provide, and lead me the right way, or to lead me the way I need to be in a household. But I need him to meet my needs spiritually, financially, and emotionally. Like I need you to meet those before I can submit. So I think it's a condition to submitting.
I do feel like submissiveness is conditional with certain women, but I feel like if a woman is truly, like, she's naturally a submissive person, which is more like beta females versus an alpha female. I feel like beta females are more submissive just in any environment, period. But I feel like an alpha female is submissive upon certain requirements from the man. A woman should be careful with who she gets into a relationship with or marry. And we talked about that in another podcast, like vetting before a relationship, so that you can marry a man who is able to take the lead and that will allow you to exercise your submissiveness easily. Like if a woman says, well, if I'm only submissive to the right man, she's not naturally submissive. Like she's submissive if upon these terms, if that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense. I agree with you because I know I'm an alpha.
I always took alpha as being more masculine. So we saying that alpha women are more masculine women?
Not really masculine, strong. They present strong characters like a man does. Like,
how so?
Not in the way I dress or the way I walk, but in my behavior. You get what I'm saying? Like how men can take the lead, and men, certain aspects will make a woman an alpha female. And the beta female is more docile. Like you have to tell them, certain things to do, and they'll sit back and let a person guide without fighting back, I guess. Now, alpha females, we're used to taking the lead. We're used to having things the way we want to have it, and being in control of our own lives. And like if it's an alpha female and we're presented with the right man, we will submit.
Well, what's the right man? I mean,
the right man presents leadership. Leadership.
So meeting the right man would automatically make an alpha woman fall back into
Yes.
a submissive role?
Yes.
So you're alpha only when you're single and you have to hold it down on your own. Would that be?
I would say so. Because we as women, like, we know our place. It automatically, a man is the head of my household. Automatically, the man is supposed to be my leader. I'm supposed to be able to look up to him. I'm supposed to be able to depend on him. I'm supposed to feel safe with him. If I see all those characteristics that I'm looking for, I will automatically submit. If I feel safe with you, if I feel like my finances, my body, my spiritual, everything is safe with you, it comes automatically.
So what happens if a man is dutiful, he's financially set, performing all of his responsibilities the way he's supposed to, and you are in fact submissive? Let's say this guy loses his job, and you become the financial bearer. Are we still being submissive, or are we role changing? I mean, are we becoming alpha females again? And then
You still be submissive. A woman can still pay the bills and still make her man feel like he's still the man. He's still the head of my household. Just because I bring in more money doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make him less of a man. I'm still gonna tell him, hey baby, what do you think about this? Or hey baby, should we do this? That's still the head of my household. If we can take the financial aspect out of it, and let's go to what you said earlier, Courtney, it's a duty for me to uphold my husband. It's a duty for me to make him feel like he's the man.
So that's not that's not conditional, because even though y'all see him saying y'all not conditional, you don't want that. You don't have no standards on how a man's supposed to be a man in the household. But if you want the right man, how do you know he's the right man? He got to emotionally adapt to what you feel. Financially, he's got to. If he ain't got finances, he still got to have some type of money. So he got to be something. So it's still conditions in anything you're saying. You can't be free spirit. I'm just, oh my God, I'm gonna submit right then and there. You're not. Ain't no woman can just automatically, completely free spirit submit, unless it's some type of standard or something he weighs to make her to do that. And both of you said that you're freely gonna be an alpha female that's gonna fall back. I understand that. I'm not female too, and I can fall back, but I still got standards. Like, you still gotta meet those requirements for me to be.
So it's safe to say that women are naturally hypergamous, and that they require an alpha male in order to submit. And I mean hypergamous meaning you have to have someone who has a set of a career, or make enough money and have enough status in order for you to submit. You just can't take an average guy off the street and just be into him and just trust that he can lead.
Can I agree to disagree?
We count on it.
We waiting on that anyway.
No, I would say, for me, my opinion, I don't have to have someone that has a certain amount of income. I have to have someone that has the mind state. Like, you can have $100 and one person will spend that $100 on a pair of shoes. Another person may take that $100 and put 20 in the gas tank, 30 on the water bill. You see what I'm saying? And maybe, put a little bit to the side. It's the mind state of how a man moves.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the richest person for me to submit to you. But if I know that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to take this amount of money and put it on this bill, and you're going to take this amount of money, and I know the way your brain moves, I have no choice but to trust you, because nothing that you're doing is lacking. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel safe because I know he got this. No matter what, we going to be good. And I have no choice. Like, even if he is financially lacking, I'm gonna stand behind my man. If I know he's trying to make moves and they're the right moves for our family, I'm gonna stand beside you. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find some money so we can put with that $100 and split it different places as well.
Makes sense.
It's the mind state. If I know you got me You got us. We have kids. That's all I need.
So
And I mean,
what happens if you with a guy who has that beta male mindset where they can't lead, or they're more in a supporting role versus a leadership role?
that's a problem for me.
How do you
That's a
address that
problem
if
for
you're
me.
already in the relationship?
If a woman is an alpha female, she should not be with a man that's a beta male, period. She just should not do it.
You know,
And
class.
right, you're gonna clash. So, like Ariel,
I disagree. I disagree with that. Alpha females will clash with alpha males because you will compete for the alpha status. The alpha is the head. The alpha is the number one. That's above the rest of the pack. So that's what I'm saying. Two alphas, you can't. I mean, when it comes to men, you either have the alpha male, and then you got the rest of the betas. You got the leader, and then you got everybody else who's going to potentially fight for that leadership. So two alphas don't necessarily mesh. That's why
I
betas are so. That's why beta males. That's why beta males are so willing to submit to a strong, independent woman. That
So
beta
you're
male
saying
energy.
that beta males submit to alpha women?
If there's such thing as an alpha female, then an alpha female can't accept an alpha male. They can't accept another alpha.
I disagree.
ooh,
That's
I
why
gotta
beta male.
disagree
That's
because
why
of
beta
that.
males win. That's
I
why beta
gotta
males
disagree.
are always under submission by an alpha woman.
If that alpha man is coming in and he like taking care of bills, he supports me mentally and spiritually, and every once in a while he like, get your butt back in check. I'm gonna be like, okay. Even with me being an alpha woman, because of the fact that I know that he got me. I'm telling you, with most women, it's knowing that I'm protected and up here, I'm good in his mind, and up here, I'm good. I have no choice but to submit. That is the person that I want to submit to. I want a strong man to have that. So I think it maybe depends on the people themselves, the different characteristics and the different, people, because I don't know, I'm telling you, if I have that right, everything in front of me where everything is perfect and in line, I have no choice but to fall back. I can't keep being combative, but I know we good. What is there to combat? When I'm spiritually safe, I'm emotionally safe. I don't have to worry about my man cheating or texting or stepping out on me. I don't have to worry about my man gambling off the money. I don't have to worry about him drinking off the money. I have no choice but to submit. There's nothing to combat in that situation.
What ways do, and I'm asking from the woman's perspective, what ways do you remain submissive? What are the actions that you do to show submissiveness?
I say letting a man make the final decisions. That's one aspect of submission, because as I said earlier, a woman should always have a voice in a relationship, in a marriage. She should always have a voice, and that man should always allow her to have a voice. But I feel like a submissive woman should allow that man to make the final decisions and not try to override him and walk all over him and overstep things. And then I also feel like if a woman decides that she wants to do something, like say, for instance, I saw this video on TikTok. This woman was talking about if a woman decides that she wants to take a vacation, right? And the man says, hey, babe, why don't you hold off a little bit? Let's maybe save up a little bit more and maybe take a vacation a few months out. And she says, no, I'm going to take a vacation now. That's not being submissive. Right. Submissiveness is saying, okay, babe, you're right. You know what? Let's wait it out. Listening to him and letting him lead and make that final decision. That's what I believe.
I agree. Like it has to be him coming with a full proof why. You know what I'm saying? For me to be like, oh, okay, you're right. Because if you telling me to go, I can't take this vacation, and I see you like I said, you constantly buying drugs like weed, or you constantly drinking up the money, or you're constantly going out hanging with your guys, I'm gonna look at you sideways. You have to lead by example. The man would have to lead by example.
And make no mistake, it's not a dictatorship. Nobody is your boss. Nobody's ruling over you. The idea is to share in the responsibility, but there has to be a clear-cut leader. There has to be someone who can take the reins. You can't. I mean, it's a share in power, but there has to be a CEO. I mean, you have the captain, and you got the skipper. Somebody has to drive the car, and then you have to have the passenger. You got to have a co-pilot. And I think that these days people get things misconstrued with this little whole power struggle thing on who runs who and who's the boss, and you don't run me and that's just not the case. There's just, if this is a corporation, we have to have a clear leader. There has to be a manager. Children are the employees. The house is the building that we work in, and we have to all have some type of structure. And that's really all it is, it's structure.
So as far as the, we're still staying on submissive aspect, and the man is the leader of the household and all these things, wouldn't he have to be hands-on with the decisions of what happens with the kids? Because I know a lot of times, men and women split the roles. Like the kids are solely taken care of by the women as far as the small little things is, their hygiene, or what they're going to wear the next day, the little things, or activities to take them on, or when it comes to schooling. But then you have the man who takes care of like the bills and the other stuff. But shouldn't a man be aware or have his hand into everything in the pot in the household?
Well, I mean, traditionally, yeah. Traditionally, the man will fall back and allow the woman. That's if you have a housewife. But we don't. That's not. We're in modern times now. Typically, both people work now, so we can't have this stay-home mom who has this wonderful idea of let me tend to the kids while he's out working, and then when he comes home, I got to tend to him. No, we have to. Some of this stuff we have to share in those responsibilities. We know that the woman is the first leader. You know that. We know that the woman is the first teacher of the child. If it's a traditional household, then obviously the woman will take on more of a role when it comes to the upbringing of the children. Father would come in as more of a disciplinarian. But if we both work, we both got to give these kids some baths. We both got to share some homework values. We both got to, handle some discipline and lay down some rules and regulations. But there's still a level of duty when it comes to a wife and a husband. And there's still a hierarchy. I know some people aren't as religious as others, like myself. I lean more toward the spiritual aspect, not more of a religious aspect, but there's still a hierarchy. I'm still a man of my house. I'm not a dictator. I'm not your ruler. I'm not your boss. But we can come together and sit down and compromise, and I would listen to you, you would listen to me, and we will make a sound decision. That's how it is. Some men think they can just leave the house and not call home or not say nothing. Oh, well, I'm the man of mine. I ain't got to answer nobody. Well, no.
And then walk in and be like, oh, where my woman at? Where my food at, woman?
That's how they sound.
Yeah. Where my food at? Yeah, woman. I love that answer though, Courtney. I really do. I like that. Modern day, you're not a housewife. Tag team.
I mean, like I said, it's not 1960 anymore. These days, everybody isn't rich. Not everybody makes $100,000 or more these days.
You need two incomes in a household.
Yeah.
the average income of men these days are around 40,000. So I mean, typically we have to have two separate jobs. We have to make ends meet these days. I mean, inflation and housing going up. These kids are expensive. We have to make ends meet. We have to stick together, but there still has to be a clear cut leader. If you want to be an alpha female, that's fine. If you want to make some decisions, that's fine. But we still have to have a clear cut leader.
You right, you right.
I agree.
I agree.
Unfortunately, some of these guys don't step up to the plate. And so now we gotta make sure before we start to submit to somebody, and that's back with the what we spoke on earlier about being conditional. Who are we about to be submissive to? I mean, because men can be submissive to women as well, and I don't mean the beta alpha version of that, but I mean if I'm submissive to my wife, that means that I'm bringing home the check, I'm bringing home the money, I'm bringing home the ability to support you. I'm bringing home the emotional intelligence to deal with you, to handle these kids and this marriage. To go out as a man and deal with all these stresses and still come home and leave that out there into my family. That's my submission to my family, to my wife. So you have to have the condition is, are you that type of guy or are you that type of woman that can deal with the submission before I get into it? And that's why we have to vet people. That's why we have to make sure this is right before we jump in. I don't see a problem with you asking flat out, or can you be submissive? And then put it to the test before you marry somebody. But like I said, we get so caught up in this modern age. Everybody can do whatever they want to do on their own. I don't need you for this. I don't need you for that we forget about family values. We forget that we need each other. We forget that everything in this country has done everything to tear us down, to separate us, keep us apart, and to keep us clawing at each other. And the truth is, we need our women, and sisters need their man. It's just all it is to it. We have to have a hierarchy.
Period. So we kind of already covered it, but different ways that women can be submissive is being supportive, listening. I would definitely say showing empathy, being open, knowing how to communicate.
That listening part is so important. It's so important because we got to be able to, because I think men now, I could be wrong, but I feel like God created men to naturally want to lead. I just feel like because of a man's background, he might not necessarily know how to lead. Like you said, we do need to vet people, but if we just so happen to end up with someone that doesn't know how to lead, that can be a struggle. But the listening part is just so important.
Okay, so I just want to say for myself, being that I have a strong personality, I definitely think that I am one of those alpha females. If I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm missing certain aspects that I need to be submissive, I'm not going to submit. And that's because of my background, what I've been through, and I have children. So my motherly instinct kicks in. Also, it's kicking in because I've always been this independent person, you know what I'm saying? So I always had me. If I feel like I can't go to you and for spiritual, you know what I'm saying? If my spirit is low, if I feel emotionally, something's going on and I can't go to you and get that little oomph I need, that's going to have me like, okay, well, if I feel like you're leading me the wrong way, like I see certain red flags where you're like, well, we should do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, okay. And then you go and do something totally different. Once again, I'm be like, if I feel like when it comes to my children, and people that have kids know, if you are a mother, you know, an honest mother, where your children comes first and every aspect kind of revolves around them, I'm always going to look out the best for my children. If I feel like you aren't the person that I need you to be for them, that strong person, that disciplinarian, but you can have that nurturing side and you're stepping up to be a father to them, I'm going to be looking at you like, well, I can't submit. I can't. And I think it's unfair that nowadays you have basically every man in the world, like a woman's supposed to do this, that, and the other, irregardless of what they're providing, irregardless of what they're standing on. I don't think that's fair.
I agree that that men must have the skills and the qualifications to lead. Nobody's going to submit to just a bum. I mean, the average Joe just expects to be in a relationship and his woman to just bow down or just to do what he expects her to do when he's not fulfilling his end of the bargain. When he's not fulfilling his duty as a man, as a husband, as a father to this family. A woman has every right to reject a man who does not show leadership skills, who does not show values, who does not show the ability to provide, protect, and to be emotionally stable to handle a family. Now, on a different note, we do have a lot of single mothers out. So, how does being submissive to a man who's qualified play into being a single mother?
I don't think it plays into it because if I'm with a man, especially if that's my husband, I'm automatically looking for those qualities so that I can submit. And I'm not just submitting for myself at that point, I'm submitting for my children. I'm showing them an example of what a wife is supposed to be. I'm showing them an example of my duties. I no longer am a single parent when I get married. I shouldn't feel like a single parent when I get married because, like you said earlier, it's a partnership. That leaves. If my husband is that alpha male and he shows and exhibits those qualities that I need to submit, I'm no longer by myself. And I think as me being a single mother, like that's what I'm looking for.
Well,
I'm looking for someone to let my burdens down and to be feel safe with me and my children.
I think that some women have an issue with if their children's father is still in their lives, how to submit to your new man without alienating the children or without having the children become a negative factor in your submission to your new man. Does that make sense?
I think I kind of get what you're saying, but I would say for being a mother that's bringing children from a different relationship, our children follow our leadership. If I show that I'm scared, they're looking at everything that my behavior. If they see me scared, naturally, they're going to have fear too. If they see me at ease, naturally, they're going to have ease too, because children look for mama, for protection, period. I have a 3-year-old little girl and she, at a young stage, when the kids start walking, they always looking around for mama, like, is it okay for me to take these steps? Even when they start crawling, they're looking into stuff. They're looking like, hey, is it okay for me to crawl over here? So if my husband is exhibiting those things and I'm following in line, most of the time children fall in line of their mother. We are their examples. If I let them know like, hey, you're good with this, your stepdad, you're in good hands, and they feel that coming from me, like they don't see the tension, they don't see arguing, they see, fluid. They see him leading, they see me backing him up on everything. Children just fall in line.
And I noticed, coming up, people have a tendency to be a bit selfish when it comes to choosing a mate. And I say that because they don't consider how important it is for their mate to step up as far as being a leader to their children as well. Not just you got a new man, but is this man able to lead not only you, but kids that are not biologically his? And so, yeah, we all want love, but are we willing to sacrifice the connection or that leadership for our children just because we want a mate because we're lonely? You know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It
I
makes
think we
perfect
should choose,
sense. Yeah.
even for single fathers, we should choose mates based on their ability to not only be dutiful to us, but be dutiful to the children as well. We all like to throw that thing around that we come as a package deal, but we have a tendency to pick people who don't have our children's best interest. And that makes us selfish single parents. So we have to make better decisions on who we decide to let into our lives. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be a leader for us all, not just. And then we have to be able to trust the leadership, right?
Yeah. It's very
I
important.
mean, you can trust us men as far as being faithful, but do you trust us to lead your children as well? And are you co-parent? So now we got to get along with, we got to get along with the ex or the baby's father, and I mean, it's all that come into play. That's why
and I
we
think
have to understand how important it is when you're going to submit to a man, or you submitting to a true leader. And a true leader can handle not only the situation with you and his biological children, but also his extended family.
It's true. That's true. I think that goes along with like what you were saying. If a woman has outside children, her being submissive, that situation is handled. Like those outside factors, such as her children's fathers, no, this is my husband. This is what we're going to tolerate as a unit together. This is what we're as a unit, we're not going to tolerate. And I will be letting them know, like, once again, this is my husband. He's the leader. So, I can have a relationship with him as far as my child goes, but most of the time, and it should be that my significant other is also included, because all of us are now raising this child or these children together. Even though we're not in the same household, we have to be cohesive. There has to be some kind of boundary set. There has to be the husband and wife have to move as a unit. You my husband, I gotta back your force up. And I gotta be able to back your force up, if you get what I'm saying.
Is there ever an instance where women who just don't want a man to lead them, but yet they want to be in a relationship?
Yep, I've seen it.
Wow. A lot of those.
Yeah.
What does that stem from? Is that one of those drawbacks from the whole feminist movement, and which didn't belong to Black women, by the way?
I think it stems from just being the way of society, how they had us separate, how women supposed to be single parents and by themselves, how they did women in the past. Well, like with welfare, when women was getting on welfare, the man could stay in the household, he had to live somewhere else. He could be in the household with the family. Like, it stems from that. And women always have to be the alpha. They have to always be the provider, the protector, the leader. So I think it stems from that. That's why so many women out here just want to be single and doing them, and being with a man that's a bum. And okay with that. They're okay with being with a bum because they're still in control.
Yeah. I believe it's some kind of trauma there for them not to want the love or whatever, but they don't want that leadership. Like, you can love me, you can kiss me, you can hug me, but you can't tell me what to do. Right? Like, there's some kind of trauma that's underneath that.
When a woman did not grow up in a structured household, having that man there, that woman there, and seeing all of that, it's harder for her to be submissive later in life.
I agree.
I think it depends on
I think that I also think that in some cases, not all, if you grow up in a home without your father and all you had was mom, then you didn't have that strong disciplinarian father figure to put you in check or to give you that action. You know what I mean? So if you didn't have that growing up, then you don't know how to respond to a man who has some type of authority or some type of leadership. Does that make sense?
Oh,
I grew up with a single mom. So these days, a man talking to me, well, I had to get adjusted to this. A man talking to me, I would take offense to some things real quickly because I'm not used to another guy telling me something that I disagree with or that I ain't really feeling. But had I had a father, like being a father today, I can tell my kids things that and immediately correct them. And so they know how to talk to other people if it's in an authoritative figure and talk to them like they have sense or respect the criticism or respect the feedback that they're getting from another person. So if you grew up without a father, it's different. It's difficult to adjust to leadership from another man if you didn't see it coming up. You didn't see your mother being dutiful or submissive to a man. So how would you even know how to be submissive, how to be dutiful if you never witnessed it growing up?
You don't know how anybody's background is because you can be growing up in somewhere. I grew up with a single mother, but at the same time, she found the right type of man to give me the balance that I need to know how to submit, to know how to be a submissive woman because she submitted and she knew how to submit to that man that was my father at the time.
Some of us men struggle with leadership today because of our background, because of our upbringing. We didn't have fathers in our lives. Some of us didn't have fathers in our lives, so we didn't see how a grown man supposed to treat his woman. We didn't see how a grown man leads his family. And so some of us, even though we have good careers, even though we can hold it down financially with our paying bills and stuff like that, we still don't know how to interact with women correctly. We don't know how to lead them correctly. And we don't know how to lead our children correctly. Some of us. So, I mean, right back to therapy, right back to counseling, right back to being around other men who got their things, who got their stuff together, that you can kind of get some pointers from, or and having women in your life that understands these things and can kind of be a backbone to you, who can kind of support you in becoming a better person. We all like to use that term, the better version of ourselves. Some of us never seen it. Some of us never seen a strong, healthy-minded male raise his family and lead his life.
I think we all agree that submissiveness is very, very important for a long-lasting relationship. And one of the words that we used was duty. It's our duty as a wife, it's our duty as a husband to create these boundaries, to create these relationships where our significant other feels safe on both hands, man and woman, to be able to spiritually feel connected and protected emotionally. All of these things are very, very important when it comes to submissiveness.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Courtney and thank Jaleesa for joining us and my beautiful co-host. Tune in to the next episode, guys, of Wine, Women, Life. If you have not subscribed, please click that subscribe button on our YouTube. We are on TikTok at Wine, Women, Life. We also have an Instagram at Wine, Women, and Life. Until next time, bye.